Hi, thanks for joining me today at Crafty Little Things. I'm Andrea and I am going to show you how to use up some scraps. I can't stand throwing things away, so I keep all my scraps that are possibly usable, and that includes little pieces like this, which I do find uses for. Anything that does get thrown away goes to be recycled, so I don't waste I don't really waste anything. Okay, so this is a simple little card that I've made for a rat group that I'm in, and this is just, this piece to me isn't scrap, this is a workable piece. But these kind of sizes and little bits of odds and ends, you can find a little corner and you can cut out little flowers or little circles or whatever and use them in a project, and that looks quite nice, quite a nice laid effect. And then there's this card, which is a folded card, and that's, again, look, strips. Like I said, they come in handy. If you look back to day 7 of my Christmas cheer challenge, I used little strips of cherry cobbler on that. Again, little flowers, just strips that I used. I often end up with 2-inch strips, and sometimes they can be 12 inches long, because they can be where I've used a 10-inch piece of 12 by 12, so they come in handy for things like this, or if you just end up with random chunks, or that's a cute little card. Again, that's for a rack. And then there's these more elaborate ones, which is what I'm going to show you today. This is a beautiful card, and it's used so many little bits of scrap up in so many different ways. Just using up little bits of glimmer foil just to make a little centerpiece there, using up a strip, using the ribbon punch just to make a little ribbon border. Again, a little circle of glimmer paper. And using up bits of DSP that are left over, little tiny pieces, that you'd normally throw away. They can be used, punching out flowers from random scraps that you've got left. This is a gorgeous card, I absolutely love it. The DSP is retired, I don't even know what it is, but it is Stampin' Up, but it's absolutely gorgeous. I wish it wasn't retired, because I wouldn't mind some more of that. And then I've made one here, which is using the current Painted Autumn stamp set. This one uses more layers of cardstock to make it nice and sturdy. Punched out these are from little bits of speciality paper. They're not even from the foils. From this speciality paper, actually. That was where I'd made a mistake with my cutting, so I just made an unusual shape there, which was quite effective. And just picked out the colours, looked through my scrap stash and picked out the different colours that are in the DSP. So what you're essentially doing is you're making a panelled piece of paper, a panelled card, and all you do, if I remove these, I didn't want you to sit watching me cutting all these little bits out. All you do is you take your card base, those ones I just showed you were 12-inch by 5.5, but this is 10.5 by 5.5. Is it 10.5 by 5? Yeah, 10.5 by 5.5. And then all I've done is I've cut at 1 3/4. I've scored at 1 3/4 and 3.5, turned it round and done the same on the other side, and then I've just put it into my trimmer like that. And at 1.5, I've just used my trimmer and I've cut down from the first score line to the last, turned it around in my trimmer and done that again. And then that will all be scored, folded and scored. But I wanted to just lay all my bits on first, so I'm going to speed this up a bit. I'm not going to make you watch me do this. So so I just went through my stash and picked out pieces that were, look, I've used the back of this one before for something else. for a label I was making for a wedding. So just pop that on. This isn't the best because my trimmer blades are blunt. I don't know what happens, what I do, but my trimmer blades don't last more than a month. Maybe I just do too much crafting. And then you can decide which side you want to use. Do you want to use the acorn side, or do you want to use the... Because if you've used the same stack, they should all sort of coordinate anyway. But I'm going to use the acorn side for this. And then, like I say, you can build yourself a little flower. You curl that up a bit and stick that on. Use dimensionals to put that together and stick that on the front or whatever. And then you can use these little panels. I've picked out sort of the pumpkin pie that's in this design, and I've used the pumpkin pie itself. Yeah, once my blades are going, I find that it just tears, it just leaves this raggedy edge on the paper, and it's a real shame. But I normally do have a lot of spare blades in, but like I say, just this past couple of months, I've just gone through them like nobody's business. I don't know what it is, because it is I suppose it's because it's a really good trimmer, but my other trimmer was a really cheap one, and I don't think I ever changed the blade in it. Yeah, and it was quite consistently good. So I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's... I've heard sort of things about there being problems with the manufacturer and stuff, but it is such a good trimmer, and when the blade is sharp, and they're not expensive to replace the blades. You get 2 in a pack. I think they're about £5 or something. So it's not the end of the world. So yeah, and so what you're essentially doing is you're just giving yourself a base to make, to do what you will with, really. You're just making loads of little panels. This sort of card would be lovely for scrapbookers, and you know, if you've got a scrapbooker you want to send a card to, because they'll probably really enjoy this sort of patchwork creation, as would somebody who does patchwork like myself. Maybe that's why I like it, because it's very patchworky. I've seen a couple of people. I've not invented this design I've not invented this design of card by any means. There are loads of people who use it, and probably do a better job of it than I do, but this is my job of it. And that's all I can show you, isn't it? Go and look at someone else's job of it. Go and search on the internet and you'll find lots of people making cards like this. Yeah, so this quite, well, to be honest with you, this Painted Autumn DSP set, I've not like been as crazy about it as I have some of the others. I should have put that on with that thank you came from the Background Bits set, if you're wondering. Yeah, I've not been enamoured with it, let's say, as much as I have with some of the others. Oops. This little print came from the It's a Wonderful Life, the little pumpkin patch and the falling leaves. I'm going to make my own DSP using those falling leaves later, so I might film that if it's something you want to see. This colour seemed a little bit out of, I think this is garden green, seemed a bit out of kilter with the rest of the stack to me, but who am I? I've not seen it used very much either, to be honest. The pattern I have seen a lot is this one. I've not seen the acorns very much either. You see what I mean by the way it rags the paper? Look at that. Can you see the edge of that paper? That's what happens when your blades aren't sharp. So always keep sharp blades is the moral of the story. This pattern is one that I like, but I don't like it with the rest of it. If you know what I mean, I've used that with other papers and other sort of themes. I've not really, I like Halloween. We do sort of do stuff for Halloween, but I'm not, I'm not a Satanist or anything like that. It's just nice fun event, isn't it? Just before Christmas, get you through the dark nights setting in and stuff. And then of course in the UK we also have bonfire night 5 days later, so that's a nice little winter event as well. I mean, that used to be the big event in the UK, bonfire night, Guy Fawkes night on the 5th of November. But it was the only time of year you saw fireworks. No, didn't even have fireworks at New Year's Eve then, in those days. And it was the big one. Halloween was more of a prep for bonfire night. What we used to do was on Halloween we used to go around and we never used to get sweets back then. You used to get money for trick-or-treating, and that money you used to use to buy your treats for bonfire night. So you'd actually, use it to buy your bonfire toffee and things like that, if your mum couldn't make it like mine did. Yeah, so that's it. Now you can carry on, you can put, little stamped images on, you can put embellishments, you can put ribbon on, you can do whatever you like. And like I said, this flower, I'm just looking for my dimensionals. Where are they? There they are. Yeah, so I'll smell my hair. I've got my new nails for my amazing weekend. Just going to put a dimension on the back of each one. And I didn't mean to do the whole thing with you, but sometimes it's nice to craft along, isn't it, with someone? So you could grab all your bits and rewind it and just go along with me. I do that sometimes with crochet. I might see a crochet pattern I like, but it's really easy, and I'll just crochet along with the person who's crocheting it on the video, even though I know how to do it. It's almost like if you're on your own, and I am, because I don't know anybody who likes to crochet except myself, then it can be nice to have somebody who does it with you, really. I ought to start some classes. I've got so much glue on my hands. Let's go wash my hands. Right, so I could put a little something in the middle of there by using my little punch. I've got a bit of silver here. It's not exactly scrap, but that bit will be scrap. So I'm just going to punch out a little 1/2 inch. Whoops, that went flying across the room. The dimensional. I'm running out of dimensionals as well. Well, I've got a few sheets left, but a few sheets, they soon go. So I've put in an order for my dimensionals, and all my basic colours as well are all running out. And now really I should have scored it all beforehand, but never mind, it's not the end of the world. And then I'm going to just, and it's up to you. I've seen some people who fold this kind of different ways, and some people who fold it the same way. So some people kind of just have everything going like that, and some people have this one coming forward. But whichever way you do it, it doesn't matter. Yeah, and there you go. And then obviously they'd be burnished. And so there you are. That's a stash busting, a scrap stash busting project. It's really pretty, and it's nice to have that panelled effect. And you could also do that with a box. That's another way I use up my scraps, so I might do a video next time I make one, and then you can see how I use up the scraps there. But yeah, they're lovely. They're pretty little cards. A lot of effort's gone into them. Well, not as much effort as somebody would think as what gone into them, and just ideas for, I mean, imagine all those little scraps of paper would have been thrown away, and I've made what, 5 beautiful cards there instead of throwing them away. So yeah, so just think about it before you go turfing stuff in the bin. That's a funny one. Okay, right, thanks for watching, and take care of your scraps, and the planet will take care of you. Oh dear, right, see you soon, bye.